WNBC.
Fuck it. We do it live.
We do it live.
WNBC.
We were just talking off camera, off mic about having guests more and eventually getting to a point where when Chris is back here in Wisconsin or wherever, we link up again in the same place, doing a live daily show, just like almost a Howard Stern fucking drive-in kind of thing. Any time of the day, they wake up at the crack of noon, whatever. But it got me thinking about taking callers and shit, which would be fun as hell. Like you said, it kind of takes the focus off us, which is nice, because for some reason, even though we do this shit, neither of us really want to be on camera, be the focus of shit.
It's a very strange choice of careers for people who don't want to be seen. Or
we just can't shut the fuck up. Like, we might as well put this bullshit out into the world as some kind of
we do it anyway.
Capsule.
Right. That's usually how we spend our
We do it live!
Right.
So I was thinking you could do the reverse instead of just having callers, where, like, we got to get Mom hooked up on Zoom, right? Where we talk to her just on a weekend on Zoom.
Yes.
And then one day we just Zoom her. And she's like, oh, the boys are calling me. Like, what's up, Mom? You're on the podcast. Fucking just hit her up. Just ambush people. Just call whoever randomly.
Totally. Yes, I love it.
Do some jerky boy
Let's
shit.
do it now.
Wish Perry was fucking still alive. Get him on here. He could be prank calling people live on the fucking podcast. Man. How amazing would that be?
He'd be made for this kind of stuff, or was made for this kind of stuff.
See, and this is part of the reason to do a podcast. Everyone should do a podcast. We wonder, like, why are we doing it? Everyone should, because Perry's gone now. I would love to have a Perry podcast to watch.
Yeah,
now that he's fucking dead and gone. Right.
Yeah.
Not everybody should have a podcast.
Well, some people have said that, like, you know, Rogan, or, you know, I think has said that pretty much. That everyone should have one, like, because everyone does have, like, something whether it's something to do with their career or their profession, you know, that they could maybe get into. Whatever interests you is going to interest other people.
We don't agree with Uncle Mike on shit, but he should have a podcast. I'd listen to the fuck out of it. We gotta have him on.
Do it. I wonder if he listens to us. If you're listening, man, do one and be our guest.
No, Uncle Mike, you gotta come on this shit.
Yes.
Put us in our place.
All right.
Stupid liberal fucks. And tell more Butch stories.
Yeah. No shit.
What the fuck is that? Someone just pinged me. Anyway, what's going on in the world? Fucking Trump and his creepy ass little
Supreme Court appointee.
Yeah. What the fuck's her name?
What's her name? I don't know.
Coney Island.
I can't
hot dogs or some shit.
It's all like just faces.
I kind of pride myself.
Concepts, abstract concepts anymore for me. I can't keep up with the details. There's like just a flood of details.
I was going to say, I kind of pride myself on not knowing her name exactly, because everyone on the internet and on Facebook is probably already an expert on her. You know what I mean? Everyone calling up her record and this and that and saying what she is.
Yeah, exactly.
I
need to be educated on that, honestly, myself. I read it a little, but Amy Coney Barrett, which if I saw the name, I would realize that was the person that we're talking about.
I read it several times. But
it just doesn't stick. The hard drive
device. Amy Adams.
Yeah, Amy. It's
Coney Island hot dogs with Marty Barrett, second baseman of the Red Sox in 1990. Yeah, there you go. Whiskey shot. Yep. Anyway, have you looked up anything about this chick?
I saw one article written by one of her former teachers that was talking about how awesome she is, and just out of curiosity clicked it while I was taking a dump or something, and
well, apparently she's an Alito
and skimmed it, you know.
Disciple of Alito. But the part that I read that does not surprise me at all, but terrifies me, is that she's part of one of these fucking religious sects that think the men should have all the say and women shouldn't have any say and shit. You're going to put a woman who's part of that shit on the fucking Supreme Court? Conservatives are crazy.
I do remember what her former teacher said was that the actual project that they worked on and got some kind of recognition for was it arrived at the conclusion that a judge should recuse themselves, or at least not let their own beliefs influence. This should be a like pure abstract reading of law. But I don't think you can do that. I think there's no way to write the laws in such a way that they are like that, you know, clear and black and white, and you know, so stated in a way that the whole point is they're interpreting it, and when they interpret it, their own, even if they don't know it properly, their own subconscious and their own, you know, worldview is going to obviously influence that.
Right.
And that's even if that's genuine too. Yeah.
Right. If she has some decision on abortion or whatever the fuck that comes from her religious beliefs, she of course can find any number of ways to justify it that aren't her religious beliefs. So then you can't even target her for using her religious beliefs. So it's all bullshit. I think that's something these conservative Christian fucking activist judges essentially do, is that they come up with like that project was probably Alito on down. They probably have a scheme where they're like, we need to message out that we recuse ourselves from these things, but we don't.
Right. No,
you know what I mean? Fuck them. Yeah. Get out of here. Just have some normal, rational person in there, and I have a much more of an ability to believe that they would recuse themselves from something or something than some zealot who fucking believes her husband should. So basically, you're going to be doing what your husband says on the Supreme
What's wrong with that now? I'm just kidding.
I mean, if it was a mail order situation, that's different, but we're talking about red-blooded Americans. But seriously, though, like, you just told me you can't think and do for yourself, and you're on the fucking Supreme Court.
I know.
And will be. I guarantee she fucking makes it through, because they'll just...
We need AI judges.
Yeah.
No human motivation.
Like, I know you're not a big sports guy, but some people will get this analogy. In 86, the 85 Bears, they won the Super Bowl in 86 because it's January, but the 85 Bears were like one of the great teams ever. But you know the Refrigerator Perry, they made a G.I. Joe figure of the motherfucker, even though he wasn't fat, which is absurd. He was like 400 pounds. They would put his ass once in a while when they were on like the 1 yard line, they'd fucking turn him into a running back and just have him just through the line to get a touchdown or whatever, because nothing could stop him. That's basically what they'll do with her. They'll just Refrigerator Perry her ass into the Supreme Court. Like, Democrats aren't going to do shit to stop it. So you might as well just say she's the new Supreme Court justice.
Yeah.
I don't see.
I mean,
Kavanaugh got through.
Right, exactly.
Even though, honestly,
but that was all hearsay.
Hearsay or not, whatever he did as a high schooler and shit, and Skull and Bones asshole or whatever later, still is not as disturbing to me as some religious sect shit that believes fucking weird ass antiquated biblical shit on a Supreme Court.
But it does. But to your earlier point, it does seem like we should be able to find better candidates than either of those. You know, like that is like just a truly impartial person that doesn't have anything scandalous or, you know, just antithetical to critical thinking.
Fuck judges.
Reason.
I will say fuck judges. That's just a fucked up job.
I know, right? That's exactly.
Who do you think you are?
I joke about saying we need AI judges instead of human ones, but in a way,
ain't no joke.
I know.
I would love
transparent, and you just.
If like privacy disappeared, I guarantee you judges come out nasty as fuck.
Oh yeah, dude. There's been some in the news. I'm sure you've seen, like the one that was having threesomes in the chambers and shit. It's a female one, and
nice.
And all kinds of weird shenanigans. There was that one guy who was sending kids to.
There was two Pennsylvania judges. He was
getting paid, or two guys, getting paid to send kids to private prisons, essentially, I guess juvenile centers or whatever.
Millions of dollars they got for sending fucking kids into this prison pipeline. Fuck judges. Judge Judy, fuck you too, bitch. Like, you never did something wrong. Judge Judy's probably, I don't know. She looks like a child abuser. Like a psychological, like some mommy dearest type child, like your kids
Nurse Ratched.
Fucking hate her and shit. Yeah, Nurse Ratched as fuck. But just the attitude that you're the smartest person in the room. No, bitch. You're just in that position. That's all. Judges should have
a lot of the people she was talking to on that show.
Truth.
They did need a little of her mentality.
All right, I'll give you that.
Fuck ups.
I'll give you that. Which is what made it, watchable to people. But I just mean in general, just I've always hated when I was a kid. I'm like, we use the words judging. Don't judge me. You shouldn't judge people. You know, there's something just about judging, and it's supposed to just be legally. They're going to sentence somebody or whatever. They hear the case with the jury. The judge really doesn't moderate. Do much. They're almost like a project manager.
They moderate it a lot. Like,
right.
Yeah, when people object, they decide whether it's overruled or not and tell the court to quiet down.
Well, that's only in jury trials. A lot of shit's just you go before a judge for fucking DUI or whatever, and he does what the fuck he wants.
Yeah.
You know?
And of course, the Supreme Court justice is a different thing too. It's more interpreting law and stuff, you know.
Well, think of all those kids that they pipelined in there. They didn't have juries. They just went before a judge and got fucked.
Mm-hmm.
Juries wouldn't have sent most of those kids to the fucking prison.
That's an interesting thing, because isn't that one of our, baked in or at least codified rights, a right to jury by our peers? So could those kids say, I'm demanding a jury, if they had the wherewithal and their lawyers, suggested it or whatever? Or maybe they didn't see it to their advantage, but little did they know.
Is that only in felony trials or some shit?
Yeah, I wonder that too. That's where, my knowledge on that breaks down there.
It's almost like if you can go be put in a cage for it, there should be a jury.
Right.
No one person should be able to put you in a cage for sure.
Yeah, exactly. It's too much power once again.
It's crazy. Fuck judges. And then this whole Supreme Court thing, it's purely ideological. You got these two stupid ass, completely diametrically opposed sides, and they're each just putting their fucking, it's almost like the fringe again, like we're electing the fringe or nominating and appointing the fringe to the fucking Supreme Court, and then nothing gets done because you just have these complete ideological splits every time. Very rarely you'll get somebody dissent from their own side or cast a fucking, what are they called?
Yeah, it's pretty predictable where they're going to land. Not always, I guess, but
so then it really becomes this chess game of stacking the court in your favor, and you win every fucking decision because you have these ideologues. That's not fucking.
You're stacking the deck,
yeah. It's so predictable. Like, how often are you surprised by what a certain Supreme Court justice says? You know.
Another reason this is such a big deal is the lifetime appointment thing, which needs to go.
She's young. Fucking, this kook is going to be there forever.
That's insane. Like 8 years or something sounds reasonable to me.
Yeah. Even like 10 or whatever.
But lifetime, that's crazy. Weird. Especially as lifetimes increase.
I was going to say, they made this rule back in the day when motherfuckers, Peter Ginsburg would have been dead in her first bout of cancer and shit. Not 4 times she beat it.
It's true.
Get the fuck out of here.
A lot of our system, is still from that period. The Electoral College, etc. It
is funny. We talk about how early people died back then, but all those fucking rich, wealthy, white, land-owning fucking founding fathers, like John Adams, all those motherfuckers lived to be like 80 and shit.
Right.
So it's like, at the end of your days, you really think you should have been in the Supreme Court? Everyone knows people get doddering and fucking...
Right. As far as the life expectancy thing goes, I did see that it's mostly because of the child mortality rate that it gets skewed, that people did still make it into the similar old ages.
Makes
maybe
sense.
Not quite as much, but yeah.
It's like dogs biologically have a shelf life. Humans do too. Yeah. Why would it? I mean, you could argue some of the shit we do now,
is
drugs,
the pollution and shit,
food,
stress,
sugar, that shit lowers their life expectancy. It'd be hilarious if cavemen, and the problem with them is they get an infection in their leg and die. It's like antiseptics, like Donnie Darko.
Yeah, I think they actually did have much shorter, but I mean, it was since we got to a certain point.
We had soap and shit.
Right. Our genetic maximum, I guess, is.
Now, when they first made soap, that's like animal fats and lye and shit, right? It's just so. I always am amazed by the first motherfuckers who figured shit out.
Right, like formulated this kind of shit.
And it like stings when you put it on a cut, but for them to know it's good, even though it stings, they kept doing it, trial and error. So
I've read a good chunk of that book. What was her name? She's on Joe Rogan.
Engines.
The Butcher's Art, I think it's called. It was when they first started doing, more, or this like that Clive Owen show, the what was it, like the early days of medical
Oh,
science.
the Nick. That show's coming back. I read.
Is it? Oh, okay.
Yeah. I remember watching the
it's
pilot
that
and
era
loving
that
it.
the book is about that era.
Yeah.
And it's pretty gnarly, man. Some of the shit they did. Woo.
Well, the thing in the Nick, I remember watching the pilot and the shit he did in that colectomy is what I had done when I had fucking colon cancer. The exact same surgery. I got to see the fucking experimental version,
primitive
of
version
the
of it, so to speak.
and shit.
Right.
Yeah, like damn,
the prototypical version.
So everybody who bitches about
anesthetic, general anesthetic.
Yeah, exactly. So everyone, I mean, it's so easy to bitch about how bad we got it today, and everyone's always complaining, but shit, when you see stuff like that, have some perspective as far as I could go to a hospital and have this shit cut out, and 5 years later, I'm still here, you know. Fucking,
yes,
we
absolutely.
live in the best time of all time.
Compared to most of history, we're in a utopia almost. Like the better angels of our nature, that book too describes that, and like actually has charts and stuff about
Steve
things
Pinker,
like
dude, or whatever.
But about how all these kind of things we're talking about, starvation and
crime,
crime, right, mortality, all that, how everything's generally improved, but obviously there's still a shitload of problems, and we magnify them, of course, as we should, because that's how we solve them.
And there's trade-offs. It's like, yeah, we have the lowest crime ever, but that's because we over-incarcerate the fuck out of people.
No shit.
So the drug war.
And that's partly why, but it's also true that food is more accessible and stuff like that. Things have become more,
And when he wrote his book, it was
fucking air conditioning. Just think of that alone.
Exactly. Air conditioning, just locomotion that you can just get in a car for pretty cheap, or ride a bus, fucking whatever, It is crazy. I really hate flying these days. I've gotten to a point where I'm just like, I know they hardly ever crash, but I'm trusting people to have done all the PMIs and preventive maintenance and checks and fucking, it's the people.
Seems most times when they do crash now, it is because of human mistakes, it seems.
Right. Or some
whether it's in the
human hijacker or whatever.
But I mean, the thing with Boeing right now,
that's extremely rare, obviously.
I forget what the motto is. It was like a 787 or whatever it was, but they had those two crashes, and it was because of on the design side, not the pilot or the maintenance or anything. It was actually on the design side.
Exactly. That's side too. Like, I don't trust anybody nowadays.
I know down
quality
the whole
control, fucking the parts they're using. Have these parts really been tested that exhaustively until they're put in this plane? That every screw, every bolt, everyone's cutting corners.
It's so unnatural. That's really what gets me, man. Like when you're up in the air, I'm just like, this is just not natural, dude.
Yeah, and the fact that everyone's
gigantic hollow metal thing, just thousands of feet in the air.
Everyone's just yawning and watching episodes of Scrubs and shit on it. And I'm like, what the
Which is me too, though. I don't freak out on them at all. I used to when I was younger and stuff, but now I don't at all get that nervous or anything. It's just unpleasant to me now.
Yeah, when I'm on them, I'm just so physically miserable that I'm just like, can this be over? Can this be over?
Yeah.
So I don't really dwell on that shit either. But I'm just saying, when I'm going to book a ticket and shit, I'm just like, ugh.
Yeah, it's right.
Planes.
I mean, I like travel. I like going to other places and stuff, but getting there sucks.
Being other places.
Exactly. To teleport there would be awesome, but
going other places sucks. The going sucks.
Exactly. Yep.
Going anywhere sucks. I'm all about this COVID lockdown shit. I could do this for fucking ever. Really. Food delivery. I mean, now you don't even got to talk to the delivery dude.
I know. They just leave it at your door. It's beautiful.
Been waiting years for that shit.
Seriously. And shit, I remember back when you couldn't pay with credit card when you ordered delivery or something way back. You had to pay with cash. And then eventually they started taking credit cards, but you couldn't tip on it, or there'd always be something like that. So you'd still have to have some cash to tip or whatever. But now it's so just fluid and automated. It's like my credit card's loaded up in New Breeds, whatever. You just do it. You could see where they are on the map and shit. And then boom, and you get a text that's here. It's just sitting outside. It's magical.
Yet we can't vote electronically.
Right. I know.
If my money is
Rogan
protected,
said that too.
everyone wants my money more than my vote.
Exactly. Rogan made this exact point. He said, we trust the internet, or, having our money being virtual and online and banking online and stuff. And he's like, what do we value more than our money? So if we can lock that down,
I mean, maybe
like
those in power
protected,
want your vote more than your money, but
that's true.
I don't know.
Honestly,
of course they do.
Here's the point I made recently. Mail-in ballots may be the most secure method because it's a piece of paper that can be stored somewhere and it's the original, versus even when you go to a polling station, you're using a machine and they have fucked up those machines.
I mean, there's no.
So it's still a machine with a connection, and that could get hacked and things like that. Whereas a physical paper ballot from an address and shit, at least that's you can go look it up unless it burns down of convenience.
Well, yeah. Here's what I was about to say. I just saw an article the other day.
You could still scan them or something.
Bumfuck county, whatever, in Wisconsin, they found a bunch of ballots in a fucking ditch that were supposed to have been delivered to people's houses.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like they don't know if it was somebody who did it on the way from the place the ballots were made to give them to the post office,
and
it was some activist postal worker was like, fuck you Democrats,
sabotage kind of thing.
I love how they think it's like Democrats are going to commit fraud. That's it.
Right.
Like all these conservatives are so.
Yeah, maybe it just cancels out. Every side commits fraud, so it's
right. Conservatives are so morally upright; they would never commit mail fraud. But those Democrats, those cheating, lying scum, they'll fucking.
I know.
They'll commit the
weird
fraud.
How they vilify each other like that.
And just how it's like this person will commit this kind of fraud, that person will commit that.
Yeah.
Shut the fuck up. Even just allow for a margin of error of fraud. Then
right.
It's so infinitesimal. It's like piracy. Most people are buying your shitty movie, unfortunately.
That's why they are making billions, or they were before all this shit happened.
Right. The easiest movie to pirate will probably be a Marvel movie. It's so out there and shit. I mean, maybe not because the studio would crack down on it more, but I'm just saying you'd think it'd be easy to get your hands on that shit because it's fucking everywhere, Like 1 million people would post it to torrent. If it's a movie like Pumpkin, there might be 2 dudes who post that shit on torrent,
Right.
But Black Panther, fucking 1 million people will post it. So
yeah.
Yet the movie makes $1 billion. So
right. It's just a cost of doing business. So
piracy shit's negligible. Could you imagine being one of those poor motherfuckers who actually did 10 years for copying VHS tapes and shit?
Yeah, some of those sentences were harsh, man.
I want to write a $250,000 fine because you sold a fucking bootleg VHS on a corner.
Crazy.
Damn. I want to make a movie about that dude getting out of prison and just tracking down some studio magnate to murder him and shit.
Speaking
some
of
Giamatti motherfucker on the warpath.
Speaking of murder, have you seen this stuff with Carol Baskin lately from
maybe
Tiger King?
What?
For those who don't know, this Netflix documentary, Tiger King, right? It was called.
Everybody knows that shit.
Yeah, I was gonna say if you've been living under a rock or something, But anyway, so Carol Baskin was accused of murdering her husband, her ex-husband. She is on Dancing with the Stars right now, and she danced to Eye of the Tiger. I haven't seen it, but I just read this.
Oh my god,
she's on Dancing with the Stars.
Get the fuck out of here!
So surreal. And at the same time, more news is coming out. Like the husband, I think his name was Don Lewis,
the one who went missing.
Yeah.
His
handyman, his former handyman's wife starts telling all the shit about the handyman, and she thinks the handyman and Carol, or at least that's the presumption. I don't know if she said this directly.
I mean, of course they were.
And because the handyman first off said that Don's gone or something before he was reported missing. Threatened one time when they were fighting that he's going to put her in the meat grinder like he did Don, like straight up.
Man, it don't take Sam Spade or Sherlock Holmes to solve this shit. As soon as you said handyman,
that's pretty much all the smoking gun you need, man.
Oh, there was a handyman?
Always the head. They say the butler, fuck, it's the handyman,
right? Rednecks don't have butlers. They have
Right?
handymen.
Yeah, there you go. That's the equivalent for rednecks. Yes.
Now that slavery's outlawed, they have handyman and shit.
And she said there was a freezer that appeared on their front porch for like 7 days after the dude disappeared, and then
I remember hearing that, which is amazing. What happened to the icebox?
Carol gave the handyman all of Don's guns like pretty quickly, I guess, after he died. Or actually, I think the wife might have said he even had them before, some of them. And some properties were exchanged and shit just right after, like a month after he was missing, between the Carol and the handyman and shit.
Dude, we might have to start doing.
There's a lawsuit going down too. So
we might have to start doing a Dancing with the Stars wrap-up show or something, because I might have to watch.
Oh shit!
I'm at least watching clips of her dancing and shit.
Yes, I know.
It's got to be terrible,
dude.
Just that look
so
on her
surreal
face,
though.
that
yes.
fucking marionette.
The universe just keeps on delivering, man. Like, it keeps just getting more surreal.
I'll put it down right here and now. O.J. Simpson could win Dancing with the Stars. That shit needs to happen. If she could be on there, let's get O.J. on there.
Right.
That dude had footwork.
Like it's just made to happen. He's all over Twitter. I actually follow him just to see what shit pops up. And I look at the comments right away. I don't listen to what he says, but I just like to look at the comments. And they're always like, "You killed your wife." Just, do you remember that time? Do you remember that time you just cut your wife's throat? All this shit. So he's like out there trying to tweet, and these people were just like constantly.
I'm telling you, dude. All right, we're gonna start hard out readings, book readings. And we're gonna open with "If I Did It," the O.J. Simpson.
Yes.
I gotta get my hands on "If I Did." I don't know.
I don't know if it's ever been leaked or
check
anything.
eBay.
We definitely should.
Yeah, if you just find a PDF.
If you just do excerpts, that seems fair use. If you're just analyzing it. And
If I Did It, I just want to read the dust jacket.
So like you don't even take it.
If I did it, damn.
Oh, man, that's fucking.
That's one of the greatest
audacious
things ever.
It really is. I want to know what time it is. How much time we have left?
No.
Okay.
Is it that thing where, like, I hate dancing? I've always hated dancing, even
it's kind of that
shit.
Feeling.
Because a minute and a half in, I'm like, is this shit still gonna go for
how long
4 more? Like, how long is Moon River? Fucking what? Come on, dude. And so even the hard out,
it is kind of because
like that.
Like, all right, Carol Baskin jumped in my head, but what else?
Is that in your back pocket?
That was my. Well, actually, I do have a little list of things, but it's probably not.
We got to put them up on the wheel, dude. Got the
yeah.
fucking wheel here. I'll spin that bitch. I need to create some robotic remote control where I click it and it spins.
Oh yeah. What's on there now? Anyway, spin it.
The deaf guy suing Pornhub.
Yes, that's one of the best.
Willis T.
Because it was a closed caption.
Oh, piracy. We actually covered that.
Okay.
Coronavirus. Kobe Bryant. That shows you how long shit's been up there. Impeachment. Jesus Christ. That's from fucking January.
We need suggestions in the comments to put on the wheel. Subjects to randomly arrive at.
Because, I mean, if that's the case, we maybe shouldn't have a podcast, but
right.
We can't think of things to say. Tell us things to talk about. Fucking. Well, there's the QAnon article.
There are a few things we had slated. Yeah.
God damn it! I gotta hook up that pocket shit again or something. It's like I send you an article and then it gets buried because we fucking talk so much shit.
I think I might be close to it. Here, yeah.
Anyway, the headline essentially was like, "Who is Q?" of QAnon, and they've kind of got it figured out just based on where these pings come from, where the original messages were originated from in the Philippines. It looks like, if I'm not mistaken. I didn't read the whole article. I'll admit it's out there. I think it was a New York Times article. Just look up who is Q and what is QAnon. And it's a pretty extensive article, though. And the dudes they think it is, man, I might have to go edit this episode and pop in a fucking picture of this fucking Eric the Midget looking dude. I mean, it's a little weird. Like, You can't make this shit
Yeah,
up.
it's David Lynch shit.
It is straight up David Lynch shit, dude. This little weird ass dude in a wheelchair, fucking, and this other guy that just looks like.
I think it's a dad and a son.
Is it? No. Well, the guy in the wheelchair is a third party guy who was working with them.
Oh,
and they had some riff and shit, and that's what I want to find out who they are, and that's like the kind of movie I want to see. Straight up, low down compliance style of like this dude hooking up with this fucking 70s porn looking dad and his son probably just fucking whores in the Philippines and shit all day, sending these QAnon fucking things out, changing the planet with this stupid 4chan prank of theirs, essentially. I
know. Anytime, I mean, the people who follow QAnon have to admit that you're just following who it could be anyone. It's like when if you know, if someone's chatting and they're you know, it's supposedly a girl, it's like you don't know it's a girl, that kind of situation. It's the same thing here with QAnon. Like you don't know who the fuck's putting this shit up. It could be anyone, and most likely is someone like this, just these like outlier people in, you know, someone's basement, so to speak. And
and then though, again, back to the movie of it, just the riff with the little dude in the wheelchair and fucking, I mean, this shit would be amazing.
Yes.
Just what a freak show, dude. And yeah, like you said, just, I mean, it's Joseph Smith coming down with these fucking tablets, but if the tablets just showed up in like a box with a letter saying, my name's J.S. or whatever, you know, if Joseph Smith didn't even come peddling his shit, but like dropped a cryptic little fucking secret somewhere for the people and everyone bought in. Could you imagine a religion? Yeah, I actually can.
Right.
Many of them start.
Exactly.
That just was some letter. Like, fucking get out of here. It wasn't even a dude proselytizing. It was like a letter. And yeah, what makes this person so trustworthy that they said a couple things that sound accurate and real?
I think that's what they would say is, that they said enough things that added up, the dots all connected, you know, that kind of thing.
Yeah, all these dots that these conspiracy freaks have already been trying to connect and shit.
Right.
Just it's so fucking transparently loony. And look, here's the thing. The QAnon people, like the pro-life crowd, for the most part, the anti-abortion crowd, then I'll say, not the pro-lifers who are anti-life once a person's born and shit. You know what I mean? I understand. And totally, they're probably good people. Like, they're super preoccupied with saving kids from fucking sex trafficking and shit. Yeah. They don't like corrupt politicians. Like, I'm on board with all that shit.
Right.
But that is the thing.
So many people have the same common ground, but you just go off the rails with it.
It's crazy. It's like falling in love with a soap opera star, like some Nurse Betty shit. It's fucking weird. It's just that kind of crazy. Q. It's just the whole thing.
It's like the same skepticism you have for the government and politicians and all this stuff, which they have loads of, most of the people we're talking about. Apply the same skepticism to everything, including QAnon and the conspiracy theories themselves, too. You know?
Exactly.
Hold them all to high standards of evidence.
I'm a conspiracy theorist. I don't believe shit except the earth is
except
flat.
All this right.
What?
Chemtrails.
All the science is a lie. This dude on YouTube, though, that motherfucker's got it.
Yeah. Like, again, what's the motivation to throw billions after billions to dupe everyone into thinking the world's not round? I don't even know what you accomplished doing this. Like,
and then the Q shake really gets good with the
what's
fucking
the benefit?
Cannibalism and the adrenochrome shit. Right. It's all Cronenberg movie shit.
Yeah, they eat kids for power or some shit. Like,
God damn, I'd love to see Cronenberg
Reaper
make some
shit.
Bohemian Grove movie, dude. That'd be
yes.
sick. Damn, why hasn't he done that? I might have to do that shit. We had that element in that TV show that apparently is going nowhere. That, I mean, we hadn't really worked it in, but stuff, our idea was
hinting at it.
Season 5, that fucking reptiles come out and shit. That would be
it was that show V way back.
Right,
I couldn't get into it.
Nah,
it was kind of popular.
I remember as a kid, watching a few episodes and being kind of creeped out, but man, the production value.
Yeah, the effects and stuff are just not
trash.
convincing.
The actors, I fucking hate actors so much. I see friends who post like the movies they've made and shit, considering the circles we run in on Facebook and shit.
Mm-hmm.
And the fucking actors in these things. I mean, we've talked about this ad nauseum. I don't know how much on the podcast, but how Soderbergh in Bubble nailed it by just look at David Gordon Green's Joe and Gary Poulter. All-time great shit. Dude pulled literally off the fucking street, you know?
Yes. The hijacking.
Yeah, all this kind of shit.
That one guy on Uncut Gems I mentioned that they pulled off the street, that kind of thing.
It's kind of like if you want to be an actor, you shouldn't be an actor.
Right.
Like,
or president.
Yeah.
If you want to be president, you shouldn't be president.
You want to be a Supreme Court justice. If you want to be a Supreme Court justice,
yeah,
you should not
exactly.
be a Supreme Court justice.
The best person for the job is often the one who doesn't want it. That's for sure.
If you want to be a podcaster,
like podcasting,
you should not be a podcaster.
Exactly. Yeah. How much time do we have left?
Is it?
Okay, I want to change it so we can all see it.
I don't know if we'd have a single episode.
This is our special 32-minute edition.
Abortion versions.
Right.
Abort episodes. That would be interesting that we could gong out a podcast. Damn, the like Gong Show. Hard Out's retired. Now we're doing the Gong Show.
Like I said, that'll be our brand that we change brands every 3 episodes.
The first person to tap out, it's over.
So, yes. It's like wrestling. So, or not wrestling, but well, yeah, I guess tap out. Yeah.
I was saying before, we who both have never really been into, I remember there was like a fucking 3-month period as a 9-year-old where I was into pro wrestling and shit. As a kid, Big John,
there was a
stud, Bam Bam Bigelow. It was like that Hacksaw Jim Duggan era and shit.
Yes.
I was saying it'd be hilarious.
I just saw
us, of all people, to have a wrestling podcast. Like if we started watching wrestling,
that before,
that shit would be hilarious.
It would. The shit, I do find it more interesting and entertaining now than I did then, but for different reasons than like kids.
Well, there was always the thing, it's not real. It's not real. It's like, yeah, all right, let's get past that and let's just look at it for the spectacle that it is.
It's sort of like similar to why people are like into drag and stuff like that. Like just the weird, like theatrical element.
It's like Jerry Springer meets drag meets Van Damme movies or some shit. You know what I mean? It's
yes, exactly.
Which could be hilarious, and just the plot lines and the characters and their mic work, the fucking the way they get on the mics and talk shit. It's like
I don't know
battles, but
I don't know what character it was or whatever. I just saw this was actually I was watching a different podcast where they had their viewers choose the videos that they watch, which is a funny concept. It is pretty entertaining, and one of them was a wrestling. These people just shouting at each other, and you could tell it was ad lib. So it was like they had a script, sort of, that you're supposed to say these few things. Exactly. But the fact that it was ad lib made it so good because it was this guy groping for the right words to use and stuff. And it's just
great
as fuck. Yes. And also knowing the people behind the characters more as the older I am, that I can kind of like understand the ego elements and things involved. As a kid, I wouldn't necessarily have appreciated it as
and
much,
knowing the whole
entertaining too.
Yeah, the behind the scenes of it, like when you see Jake the Snake going rogue and talking about Andre the Giant stories and shit, just all the whole scene to me is fucking fat. I mean,
it's this weird mythology
with no day jobs
Pantheon.
And shit. I do think it'd be hilarious.
Yeah,
do like Monday Night Raw wrap-ups
when we get to that point. Yeah,
because we'd go in cold, not even knowing who the fuck. And I would do the show explaining it like to mom, who's a non-wrestler. Can we tell someone who's a non-wrestler about this wrestling shit as non-wrestling fans, but
get them interested in it or whatever, like,
or at least show what's appreciable about it. You know what I mean? Like, because I have for years wondered how you could be with all the forms of entertainment out there. How does this corny, overacted, like whenever they
to you?
Get body slammed, they're like, oh, like their back
Right.
is broken. It's fucking
The
great.
bad acting is
Yes.
what I was driving at.
That's
That's
part of the
one of the
best
most
shit about it,
entertaining
dude.
Yes.
Fucking love this shit.
All right, yeah, man. Eventually, when I can retire from the day job, we'll start that show up. So, Patreons, if you want to help us, if you want to see this wrestling podcast, throw in
from us. Must be from us. Fucking Cactus Jack. We're gonna be dropping this movie in like fucking 6 weeks to 7 years, sometime between there. Gall, all right, our actor Michael Gall just went on this podcast, this local Milwaukee podcast called Off the Rails today, and he showed a clip from the movie. He said they fucked it up, technically, of course. That's why I don't like showing clips.
I know.
Like the times we've gone into pitch with a sizzle reel, and they fuck it up technically, and then you just start it off with a pitch meeting.
Like putting a rubber on.
Yeah.
Or something. Just a
technical bullshit.
The vibe just fizzles.
Totally like putting a rubber on. Fucking. So anyway, he went on there, though, and I watched a bit of it, and they were like, when's this coming out? He said, the one thing, I don't know exactly, but I've been promised that it will be before the election. I was like, promised? Bro.
Oh, shit. Don't ever make promises for other people, man. That's a hard rule for me.
And if I promised it, because I don't promise shit.
Yeah, people know this about me, I think, by now, like in my work and stuff. I always frame things to never commit. It'll always be, I hope to have this done by this. I expect to have it done by this date, but it's going to happen by this date. Because I just know there's too many variables. Things take 3 times as long as you expect.
You're relying, it's collaborative, so you're relying on getting
especially when it's
person, and then you know. Yeah, it's ridiculous. Now I know you want it to be out.
It's probably because I don't want to go back on my word. I want to make sure if I do commit, it's like there's no outside factor that's going to make that not possible, you know.
And I know that people committed to our Indiegogo and all. I mean, we have been working on this shit for 4 years. It's absurd.
Yeah,
but
I just meant a specific deadline. You know,
it's kind of not. What's absurd is the people who go on Kickstarter and say, and what we did, admittedly, say it should be out by next summer or whatever. You should just be like, look, we're going to make this movie. We will make the movie. It might take 20 fucking years, but we will make the movie, you know. Just promise to make it.
It's done when it's done.
You know?
Yeah, exactly.
And like I said, I just saw this quote.
You want it in the right form. It has to be right. You know, sometimes it takes that amount of time for it to actually, you know, be what it wants to be, to have the right revelation.
This movie is way better for having taken 4 years.
Yes, exactly.
And if it takes 6 more months, then releasing it by the election, it will be way better for it. That's the fucking issue. Now, it gets to a diminishing returns point, but, I mean, for the most part, like I saw this quote Edward Norton made about that movie Motherless Brooklyn that he made, which I saw, by the way. Did you watch that?
No, I haven't seen that one. That's
pretty good.
His most recent one, right? Like,
yeah, he wrote it, directed it.
Yeah.
He took a book that takes place like in the 90s, and he transported it.
Got like a guy who ran New York and shit.
Yeah, he transported
behind the scenes.
Yeah, because he had read this book about that dude. I forget his fucking name, but he really existed.
Mm-hmm.
And he just ran New York fucking behind the scenes, like you said. He's just running everything. He never got elected to any office, but he got appointed to like 50 fucking
crazy
appointments. And it was just the superintendent of this and the housing and whatever. Mo something. Anyway. So Ed Norton took this story about this little private eye with assistant to a private eye who has Tourette's, and his boss gets murdered, and he stumbles upon this whole scheme, and he transported it because he had been reading a book about this Mo fucker to that era, which is kind of interesting to take an adaptation and put it in a whole different time period. That's cool.
Yeah, you know? That is interesting.
But anyway, I saw a quote with him where he took so long making this movie, but he said something about how gestation almost always make something better. Yeah, it's true.
The more time you spend on something, naturally it's going to improve.
Right. In Hollywood, they pick release dates before they have scripts.
I know. It's crazy.
So
they'll even start shooting without a script, which we did, but it's not the same. It's, you know, we're talking about like multi-billion-dollar productions, or at least $1 million productions, and you know, like hundreds of people coming together, you know, to make
and this
it
is an art film. It is,
and they're still figuring out the the script. It's crazy.
Saved by the Cat shit.
Did you see this Mandalorian drama?
No.
You know the guy who plays the Mandalorian? I forget his name now.
Game of Thrones motherfucker, right?
Yeah.
He got crushed by the mountain or whatever.
Yes.
Yeah. The
He,
dude looks cool.
Pedro's Pascal or something like that.
Yeah. I think
he looks awesome, and you know, the part of his problem really is that he actually got into it. We've talked about this too, like when you have masked heroes and stuff, and you don't get to see them emote, and he's like, I wanted more scenes where I didn't have the helmet on, but the whole thing is the ethos, which I think is kind of stupid. Like Boba Fett was cool, and then they made it this whole race of people who won't take their helmets off and all this shit.
So stupid.
So
stupid.
And so now he's part of this like bounty hunter like guild and stuff, and well, the Mandalorians specifically don't take their like the helmets, their whole thing and shit. So, and he doesn't want to wear the helmet, so he even went to Lucas when he was on set, but like behind their backs is the story.
How much cooler would it be if he was just some bounty hunter with asthma and his helmet had like a
I can't breathe in this thing. Yes. Spaceballs.
I can only breathe
Rick
in this
thing. Oh, I see what you're saying. It's the apparatus like Darth Vader-ish or
it's
whatever.
Like Iron Man with a shit in his chest. Like his helmet.
Anyway, the drama though, just in case we run out of time, because I have no idea where we're at, but I just want to get this out. He went to George Lucas and bitched to him, and John Favreau and his guys, actually really run the show. And they just said, get out. We'll just film this shit with a stand-in because it is a dude in a helmet. We can use anyone.
Oh, shit. So he's out?
It's all ADR, though. From what I read, he's still going to do ADR, but he's not going to be in the suit. And I think, like, the suit was...
Dude, if he's getting the same pay grade...
Yeah, I know. Like, in a way, it's like, yeah, he made out, right?
Yeah, until next season,
story.
They shit can him and bring Frank Caliendo in to finish
but, dude, I was like, as a writer, I was like, make the helmet get stolen or some shit.
Right.
And then he's flying across the galaxy trying to get his
in the head, and it gets cracked in half and falls apart and shit.
But point being, there's a million ways to make it where like, oh, now it's the story of a Mandalorian who's lost his helmet somehow or whatever. And now, you see his face and he's ashamed of it because he lost his prized helmet and, lost honor because of it. And now you're seeing him emote the fuck out all over the place.
No brainer. He has to make some shitty makeshift helmet that some other Mandalorian calls him out on, and he has to kill them to fucking take their helmet and shit. Whatever.
Well, yeah, but
even if it's like there's The Fly in Breaking Bad, even if it's one episode where his helmet's gone, he's trying to get a helmet.
What if he does something he feels dishonored himself by and takes it off as a sign of like he doesn't deserve it?
Cool.
That's great character shit too.
Fuck the Mandalorians. Like as a protest.
Right, exactly. Like I'm not one of them. I'm, my own person, whatever. There's
nasty.
a million ways to do this.
And then he's
to solve this problem and maybe make it better.
Yeah, and then he's got all these fuckers in masks after him because he's rejected the whole mask.
Right. And it's his faceless army of masks.
Because it is stupid to have masked heroes and shit.
It is. It's always kind of been a rub for me. It's like then you're not seeing them emote and stuff, but at least with like Spider-Man and shit, they had enough personal life that you cut back and forth.
Yeah, but that's why in every fight with the fucking Doc Ock with the Green Goblin, his mask got torn half off.
Totally right. So you could see his mouth and shit moving it.
Right. And it's different in print or
but
whatever.
I'm sure they have their plans for the show that didn't involve everything we're saying, and they probably just want to stay on that track or whatever without the whole storyline. I'm sure it does. Yeah, I'm sure this shit would be better, but.
I wish Favreau would do more
funny,
shit
though.
like Chef.
I love that set drama great. Shit. What's that?
I said I wish Favreau would do more shit like Chef. I love that little movie. Fuck all these big budget spectacle Lion King.
Yes, that was
shit.
Cool. Mm-hmm.
Chef was awesome. Partly just because I'm a fat ass in the food porn. Fucking
it made me want to. That was the food truck one, right?
Yes. The Cuban sandwiches and shit.
That was good shit. That's just life affirming. That kind of. Film,
just one-off little stories that just give us a glimpse of a person's life.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, man. The epic shit of TV and comics and all that always appealed to me as a kid, but now it's almost like you said, the commitment of it all. I don't know.
I think it's just if it's turning you on, then keep doing it. Really is the ultimate answer.
Both like creatively,
Reapers is kind of like that.
Watching it,
yeah.
Well, I mean, almost consuming it, though, is my thing. Like,
yeah, exactly. I'd rather be creating this stuff than consuming it.
Exactly. Yeah, I like to create long form and consume fucking one-offs almost.
Right. Although I watch plenty of TV. I watch a lot more long form.
It's mostly just my kid shit.
Yeah.
My life is just not working on this stupid fucking
I haven't nearly as much now, though. I mean, it started with like The Sopranos and stuff, and then it, you know, maybe a
The
little earlier.
Sopranos is so fucking good.
Yes, and
Most
then like
shit
more
sucks.
recently, like Succession, and you know, I did watch all the Watchmen and stuff, but I was kind of meh. You know, I know
So
it wasn't
people think
cleaned up
that's the
on the.
best show
I
ever.
know, I know. But I was a big fan of the original graphic novel and stuff, and which I'm sure plenty of people who
Well,
like
this
this
shit
was
is
too,
just
but
a
it just didn't seem the
continuation
same to
in the
me.
same
Yeah.
world, right?
Yes. Yeah.
It's like
It wasn't.
90 or 2000s.
Yeah.
It's the 90s. I'm so fucking old. Like, that's modern.
It's one of those
Watchmen.
things where it had a few cool things, you know. Well,
Mhm.
Westworld's kind of the same for me too, that it's like it's got enough that I kind of keep watching because I'm just curious what they do with it, but it's not like gripping or anything, you know. It's not like moving me in any way, you know.
High concept TV shows is kind of a problem. It's like a high concept. Can a high concept be sustained that long? Like Breaking Bad and shit.
Yeah, the better shit is like Sopranos and
It's
Succession and
just
stuff, where it's just
human
dynamics of these
people
characters interacting.
interactions.
Yes.
Exactly. But when you make it this high concept thing, then you always got to be playing to it. And
Now, there's a lot of things like in Westworld that I could get into some other time, but there are actually very cool ways of using the world,
right.
like that I kind of just I nerd out on, I think they're interesting things, but
have you checked out this Ridley Scott Raised by Wolves shit?
The world building is cool. No, actually, I'm curious about it. I didn't even really know it was happening till it like already happened. So like,
me neither.
I'm late to the party
I
on
don't
that
know
one.
shit anymore.
I can't keep up, man. They're making it a lot faster than I can track.
Shit. Well, that's partly what I was getting at, is the demand for new TV content is so high that they're just churning out shit. I don't know. It's like, obviously, even back when there was only 3 channels, there was a lot of shit TV shows, right? So it's not like the smaller the apparatus to put shit out, or the smaller the pipeline, the more narrow the pipeline, that you're only going to get good shit through. Not true. But,
and still, like, Chernobyl, The Boys, there's some things you haven't checked out yet that are really good.
Exactly. Well, I was going to say, though, it's like the narrow pipe is HBO.
It has been.
HBO makes good shit. Now, like you said, though.
Deal. What was the deal they just did that I was... Oh, J.J. Abrams. I think they just did something with it. Yeah, I think they're getting to... I don't know if Hollywood's the word or whatever.
I don't know if people have heard us talk about J.J. Abrams, but it's almost code word for us for shit nowadays. J.J. Abrams did nothing against the dude. He goes on Howard. He seems like the coolest, nicest motherfucker ever. Regarding Henry's my shit. I still think the best thing he ever did was Regarding Henry's script. Lost. That's what I'm talking about, a high concept show. That's exactly what I was talking about. You come up with this high concept show, and then you just paint yourself into corners and shit.
It's just most of the stuff that I've loved were from people I never heard of before I came across it. Like, again, Sopranos and things like that. It's usually it has nothing to do with who created it. And often, I hate to say it, but like Luck and Treme and shit like that. I watched a bit of Treme, and that was made by, the same guy who made The Wire.
David Simon, yeah.
Yep. And The Wire was amazing, but sometimes it just isn't clicking. It's really down to the actual, obviously it's a combination of all of these things, the actors. It's again, The Sopranos with Gandolfini, may not have been quite what it was with.
No, there's a cool parallel to draw there. It's like we talk about, instead of being ideological, talk policy. And it's kind of like talk show, talk project. Instead of being a Michael Mann fan, everything Michael Mann does is awesome.
Each thing on its own merit.
I'll tell you, I don't like the Kill Bill movies, which is crazy to a lot of people. I like Kung Fu shit. I like, love Tarantino, but
hit those notes, for you. Yeah.
Right. So it's not like everything somebody does I buy into and love. That kind of fandom and shit, that undying fucking...
Right. For a second, I thought it was really happening.
Yeah, I was about to. We got to be close. I have no clue where we are. But
okay, you haven't looked good, or not good, but I'm just.
That is the beauty. When we have a guest, we never hit this shit where you're like,
yes.
We're always starting with a guest. It's always.
Here's the new rule: with guests, it's an hour. With us, it's half an hour.
Interesting.
Anyway,
with guests, it's an hour. With us, it's not. It's just not. It just doesn't.
Yeah, right. No heart out. We just, of course, that it is beautiful having that just forces you to shut up and not.
No, I
go
mean
for
we just
hours.
don't podcast.
Oh, yeah, right. Okay, cool. This one's going in the fucking garbage can then?
Nah, I think we're all right.
Nah, I think it's good.
It's just our neuroses. I mean, if you like us,
dude,
you'll like the podcast. If you don't like us, go suck a dick and watch whatever the fuck else there is on every screen ever. There's so much shit to watch now.
Seriously,
that is crazy to make anything.
Yes,
it truly is crazy.
I mean, honestly, if it's that you need to pay the bills, and I'd rather.
Yeah, but what a way to try and pay them.
Well, I was going to say I'd rather pay the bills doing something I love, which is having conversation and creating stuff, versus all the other options. So that's why, though, if it weren't to pay the bills, I'd rather just consume shit and just bullshit on my own time. And like you said, having the record is cool. Like, go ahead.
I was going to say I'd rather do something I love-ish. I'd rather do something I hate less than everything else.
It's like the closest thing you can do that makes money to what you love, right?
Right. Twitching. Maybe we should start streaming games because, man, I swear to God, I could spend the rest of my days just sitting there with my fat ass fucking
totally.
Thumbs.
You just go in a flow state, just escape, just transport yourself.
And games suck too. Most games aren't super satisfying. It's just the outside world dissipates. That's all it is. The real world disappears. That's really what I'm after. That's what heroin addicts are after. Fucking sex addicts, everything. Yeah, right. And video games make the outside world disappear. Fucking when I binge eat for whatever 7 minutes, I'm stuffing my face like some ravenous fucking reptile eating a baby and shit. It all disappears for a minute. When you come, that's why it is the dumbest. Like orgasm, it's like fucking 2 seconds, but it's like the furthest you can throw reality away from you.
Exactly. Yeah,
but it's just completely out of your body. Boomerang and shit. Like, oh shit, it's back. Fucking almost in the grossest way. There's an afterglow.
For a while, yeah.
Sort of.
For a while, I feel
unless you ever relaxed. Had some one night stand and you're just like,
of course, right, there were bad experiences and stuff, but
like the boomerang.
Generally,
it's like when the boomerang comes back and cuts your fingers off, like in Mad Max. Fucking
right.
It's a hot dog fingers flying and shit. I always loved that as a kid.
Yes.
But yeah, that's all it is. It's escaping reality. Even when we do this podcast, it's like we escape reality to go sit on some fucking. Remember Uatu the Watcher in Marvel? Yes. The Watcher. Yes. That's what the podcasting is. Yeah, I'm gonna fucking back up, be the Watcher, comment, observe, comment. So the Watcher never commented much.
No, he just watched. It's kind of what we're talking about.
Well, kind of. Funny how many comics you got of him talking to Silver Surfer, trying to get him to do some shit.
Yeah, exactly. That is
kind of like the dude is very unchill. The whole movie of Lebowski, he's supposed to be the chillest dude. He's freaking out the whole fucking movie because he wants to be chill. He's trying to.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the dude. It's the reality interjecting shit.
Mm-hmm.
His 2 safe spaces were sitting home in the bath, smoking weed, and bowling. That's how he pushed the world out, reality out.
Yes.
And the whole movie
intruded on him.
Is, the world intruding. Exactly. You can't even bowl. You can't do anything.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking,
that is life, man. It
fucking sucks. Sooner we can get
life's an asshole.
I was looking through our old episode with Ryan Jackson, and we were talking about the VR shit and if Neuralink is essentially going to be the Strange Days shit, where what if Neuralink's on a closed circuit and it's just for VR shit and it gives you the fucking danger room or whatever that holodeck shit is in Star Trek? Man, you might never see motherfuckers.
I know. You could pretty much experience anything you want. You could do what David Blaine just did and fly over a canyon with balloons and actually be doing it. Like he'd be wearing the shit on his head and you're him and like you're feeling it all, the wind and...
Yeah, and the Neuralink again can make you feel all this shit. What if eventually you got to the stage
like
in a few hundred years where your skin
not like VR,
feels like winds on it? And
it like activates all the right parts of your brain and shit. But like you said, it's not hackable because it doesn't talk to any other. It's not some internet
of things. You watch porn and it tickles your fucking dick nerves, like somebody's giving you a hand job or whatever. It's just
exactly.
it's all.
I mean, it's all in your head. Everything
it is.
It's all reconstructed in our brain. Everything
It's so
you experience.
crazy.
It
It's
is
all
crazy.
in your head. Dude.
The heart. Well, the heart
every feeling you burn your hand, it happened in your brain. Really.
Yeah.